When Rabeea came in, he was a young boy, pretty fit, not very uncomfortable, but yes, with a very, very weak heart. He had, for some strange reason, probably viral infection, got infected nearly 18 or 20 months before his admission to our hospital, and he started feeling breathless with every single passing week and month. He reached a point in time where the doctors in Iraq told him that the only thing that could save him was a transplant. He'd heard about the work that was being done in India, and then he decided to come down to our hospital.
Assalamu alaikum.
I'm the patient Rabeea from Iraq. He had the heart problem since 2 years, and he was like roaming here and there in the north of Iraq. He went to Jordan as well, but there was like no hope for him. So they finally, as he said, it's like the last destination for him in India, under the supervision of Dr. Sandeep Attawar.
Fortis Healthcare has a presence across India and a very strong presence in cardiac sciences. As an expertise or a skill set, we are leaders in that in the country, and within that skill set, we have a lot of doctors who are doing a lot of innovative stuff.
I did my training with transplantation in VAD a couple of years ago. I specifically took time out to work in Minneapolis with one of America's most foremost heart transplant and VAD experts and his team. So it was an eye-opener for me.
Now, we do have a deep collaboration with some of the countries where we are able to help get patients here and treat them. This patient in particular came to us many months back for a heart transplant and was waiting, and an organ wasn't made available, and thus he deteriorated and reached a stage where an urgent LVAD had to be done.
Unfortunately, obviously, as patients with terminal heart failure do experience increasing symptoms, Rabeea started getting episodes of right heart failure. Waiting any longer without trying to do something more concrete would have been a problem. So that's when we popped up the suggestion to the family, saying that if we are not getting a heart, the only other option for us is to consider him for a ventricular assist device. Something to support and take care of his failing left ventricle, because that is the main pump, that is the systemic pump that actually helps your circulation to be supported. The question then was how to arrange for this amount of money all of a sudden, because it is a fairly expensive kind of therapy, the costs of which were probably 3 times the cost of a heart transplant.
She's the mother of the patient Rabeea, and he's like 30 years old, a single man. He's working as a taxi driver in Iraq. Qasim, brother of Rabeea, he's also a driver, and their like financial situations like normal kind of, but the like surgery cost was like too costly for them, so they kept lending money from the, like relatives, uncle, wherever, and they collecting money from like not from one city, north of Iraq, south, like all relatives wherever they are, they keep collecting money and they send for them just to help to give another chance to Rabeea to have a life.
It's not for the faint-hearted, because I think the mortality from the operation procedure itself is per se close to 15%. So when you spend probably $200,000 on an operation, and the doctor tells you that the possibility of you coming out of the theater and the ICU alive is only 80-85%, yes, it definitely creates a great deal of doubt when you're going forward for this therapy. But unfortunately, terminal heart failure is such a bad condition that unless you try something, there is unfortunately no other go for you, because many of them would not have seen their next birthday.
Sir, a question. You don't see the roof is here. Yes. It's not touching the roof. Look at the left side first, and then we move on. I want to see the mitral regurgitation.
So we had this 10-day gap where we had to arrange almost everything. So it reached a point in time where simultaneously we had conducted a lot of other tests on him to make sure that he was the right candidate for a VAD, where we had to collect all this data and send it back to the team in the US to decide whether he was the right candidate. because it is not about just about the money that he was spending on the operation. It was very crucial for all of us to make sure for ourselves and for the family that this was the right decision.
He's saying tomorrow is 17th of September 2014 is the big day for him. He's asking God actually to like have a good surgery, and he wants to join back his family and to start work again, and as soon as possible he will get married and maybe kids after some time.
The initial process is that when you're deciding to implant the VAD, the most important thing that in this situation was to decide whether the right ventricle would support his circulation also. Because when you're putting a VAD, you're automatically putting a machine to support the left side. But what do you do for the right side? We have all the preparation, but we are still not very sure. So that was done in the morning of the 17th. We took him in the theatre, we did all this evaluation, and at around 11 o'clock we made the final call that, well, we're going ahead, it's a go.
What is his free dose?
Qasim says it was like a really tough day because they took Rabeea around 9 o'clock in the morning till the 2 o'clock in the night, and they were like so confused, so worried. They didn't eat, they didn't sleep, no one was comfortable.
So when you look back at all those things, I think I have no memory or recollection of what actually happened in those 8 to 10 hours. It seems like a blur, and for me it just looks like as if everything happened in one moment. Well, I know, but 8 to 9 hours is a very, very long time. So if you look at a heart transplant, a transplant might work in 50% of cases for up to 10 years. With all the kinds of immunosuppressions that you would take and all your mandatory requirements as far as taking care of your health and all the medications. But a VAD would require 1 or 2 maybe blood thinners, would probably at the extreme in some occasions require you to consume water pills once in a while and need a medicine to control your blood pressure.
There are a couple of issues when your patient goes on this kind of device, and therefore he has to take care of the cable that exits from his body And this cable is connected to a set of batteries and to a small computer that will regulate the function of this pump. He can have a shower, or he can't go into a swimming pool and jump into the water, because water is an electrical system. Water gets into the system, then it would not function.
If he had a transplant, he would never have had his own heart in his chest. Now with the VAD, we have an opportunity that if his heart ever recovers in the future, we can explant the VAD and leave him with his own normal functioning heart. So that's the hope that we will live with, and that's the hope that he will live with.
Both of them look so happy and so proud of what all we've made, like from the surgery side, from the supporting side. They look so happy, and they said like we never talk like this. We never felt this smile on our face before. They just start talking, start laughing, start eating properly, sleeping properly, and they are just waiting to take Rabeea.
We do have OPDs and camps in these countries where we not only see patients for the first time and advise them to come here for treatment which is available here, but we also do follow-ups in these countries. So for example, this patient Rabeea would go back, and some of the other team from here would be able to see this patient after he goes back to his country to see that he's doing well.
No alarm, only here alarm. Let us check his protein.
طبعا أولا شيء المستشفى هسه حاليا من يقولوا لي
He's saying even if I'll go home, like I will miss the hospital because I found here like brothers, friends starting from the staff. He's saying those people, like the nursing staff, they've made a great job for him, that they took care of him more than his own mother and father.
والدكتور سنديب.
And he's thankful for Dr. Sandeep Attawar, like person number one in his life, of course.
دكتور عفو.
His recovery has been spectacular. You know, Rabeea has surpassed all our expectations. No, most patients with a VAD would probably spend at least 2 to 2.5 weeks in the ICU recovering after surgery, because they have such extreme heart failure. For them to get out of heart failure, even with an effectively functioning pump, is not easy, because they have bad livers, they have poor kidneys, they have so many other issues that need to be dealt on an everyday basis. But Rabeea just jumped out of his bed within the 4th day. He was walking about the ICU within 96 hours, which I think was stupendous. And here we see him 15 days after his surgery, ready to go home. I think it truly is something that we had hoped for. I did not expect it, but it has happened. So I guess it's a happy conclusion for us at this point.
جاهز تعودت عليه طبعا.
He's saying that the device is like coming part of him. He's living with the device every day.
وتعود عليه بعد أكثر.
He's saying the only problem is it's like a bit heavy, but maybe the problem that he's still not, the wound not healed yet.
ثقيل بس عاد تعود عليه ولو العملية بعد.
And it's like easy to control it, easy to handle it,
شوي هم يروح الألم.
and it's not difficult to live with.
جنطة عادية تمشي.
As we live longer, as we grow older, I think most of us will end up at a point in time where we will possibly have heart failure, and there will be no option for us other than Lvad. Unless for that matter, if we have a heart that is either grown in a lab, in the innards of an animal, or possibly we bioengineer heart muscle and grow a heart to specifically suit an individual with heart failure 6 months in advance, before we can plan a heart transplant and manage him medically till then. So this is probably the future, and let's hope we all live to see the future.